Fletcher's just trotting them up the field on a slack rein, so you can see that even in a wide open space they're not attempting to break into a canter or rush forwards. As these ponies are going to be doing driving trials with their owner, it's important that they can work on grass and not get excited. When they're doing the marathon, they need to be able to listen to the driver and remain at a walk or a steady trot if they're told, but they also need to go faster as well. So what Fletcher's going to do in a minute is turn them round and canter them towards home. So obviously you've got the fact that they know they're going towards home, they're at a faster pace, and what he's going to show you is that they will stay at a canter, and also that they'll stop when they're told. Both of these ponies are being driven in soft rubber bits, so when he comes down here he's going to chase them on with the reins and the whip, which isn't necessarily the proper thing to do, but what we're trying to show here is that even with that behind them, being slapped on the backsides with the reins, being shouted at to canter, all that excitement and noise behind them, they'll canter towards home, and then he'll bring them back to a standstill, ask them to stop still, then stand on a slack rein, which is very important, so they're not attempting to move forwards. You can see they're both being driven in soft rubber bits, and also that they'll walk on calmly when they're told and not start jig-jogging or breaking into a trot, which shows that they're not excited. So by that they're listening to the driver and they're perfectly controllable, even on grass, even heading towards home, even in a wide open space. We've now got Kathy on the reins. These two ponies are owned by a lady, so we want to make sure that they can be controlled by a lady driver. She's got a different sounding voice to Barry, a different touch on the reins, so it's important that they'll go just as nicely for another driver, so that when we make the transition back to their owner's hands, the ponies will find it a bit easier because they've already experienced it. Also, what we're doing today is taking them out in company. The horse behind, Gable, he's a 5-year-old, and these two owners know each other, so they might well go out in company together in the future. So what we're showing here is that the little greys will put up with having a horse trotting along behind them, and also Gable will quite happily sit behind the other horses without pulling out or wanting to speed up and try and overtake them. So we've stopped off in the shade in Stockbridge to give them a break. You can see they're standing here on a nice slack rein with no groom at their heads. Gable's up the far end of town and they're not worried about being separated from each other. Both ponies standing here with their hind legs at rest. While the traffic goes past, you can see how near they are to the road's edge. And we believe it's important that they will stand still without needing anyone at their heads, because if your groom ever has to do something else, for example adjust a brushing boot or a bit of harness while they're stood still, you don't want them fidgeting about. So this is why we believe it's important that they will stand still when they're told, without needing anyone at their heads to feed them tidbits or distract them, to keep them standing still.
Fletcher, when you get back, put some double reins on. You know, on that Frisian and that.
Pull over in here, Kathy, just so I can. I've got to alter those reins anyway. Gable's now being driven by Harriet. This is only her second time ever on the reins of a horse. So you can see she's overtaking the greys. Now the greys are following behind and Gable's out in front, which just shows they don't mind another horse overtaking or which order they go in out on a drive. What is it? We're now driving the ponies out in the owner's carriage. This is the one she'll be using for competitions. So we're getting them used to the feel of the vehicle behind them and the different weight of the vehicle. And today they're going down into Andover for the first time.
we were trying to do, isn't it? I think. In a minute, you just want to pull off here like, as soon as you can. Just pull up. So far in his mouth.
Lovely. Just come up through this cone.